So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the two trades that I took this week. Okay. So I'm just going to keep everything transparent to show you all the trades that I've taken. So let's go into my signals group. Okay. Let's go to the beginning of the week. So the first trade I took at the beginning of the week was this US30 trade. Okay. So I took US30 buys. I even took a screenshot of it for the paid signal group. Now I'm going to be calling all of these signals on the free Telegram sign on Monday, so everyone can see all the transparency and everything live. I'm only going to do this for 1 month, so everyone can get a little trial of how things are going. Okay. So anyways, let me break down this trade. So this trade on US30. Now, if we look at it, I called targets at 36,530. These targets were called. TP2 36,526. Boom, we hit straight to the pit. Let me just hide this so we don't get distracted by that. I was not looking at the chat, so if anyone's writing anything in the chat, let me know. Yeah.
All right.
Just look at the power. So this is where I took the trade. It was somewhere around here, and I'll break it down in a minute. But I just want to emphasize the fact. Boom, straight to the pit. This is what I'm going to break down and tell you how I managed to do that. So the first thing we need to understand is the direction. How did I know it's going up? Because now it's starting to go down, correct? So the first thing to understand is the direction. The direction comes from structure. Okay, the structure is quite simple. I think everyone should know this. It's higher highs and higher lows. Okay, so now what's happened is we've broken this level of structure. Let me highlight this with this tool. Here you can see we've broken this level of structure. So now we're only going to look for cells. Okay, now since we're looking for cells, there's mini structure here. Let's keep this. There's mini structure here, which look irrespected, and there's further structure down here. Okay, but what you need to now notice is, if I get rid of these, because we need to keep on the current time frame, what you need to now notice is price action broke the most recent higher high to now create new highs. Okay, so since we're in a downtrend, let's use this tool. Where's that tool gone? Since we're in a downtrend, we want this level to get respected. However, this level got violated, and now we're in an uptrend. Okay, now obviously there's a lot more detail which goes into it, but I'm just giving you a little overview. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're only looking for buys. Why? Because this higher high got violated. Okay, so now this is no longer the higher high. Okay, this is the most recent higher high. When I was looking to take this trade, there was none of that price action. If anything, if I remember correctly, I don't think this was here as well. Let me go into Telegram. You can see the screenshot. This is on the 30-minute. We had this retest, and then I took that trade. Okay. So now we've found out that we have this level of support. Okay. We're going to wait for price to come retest this level of support before we look for buys. Okay. So what I like to do is, not on the 4-hour time frame, we know that we're looking for buys and buys only. We drop down to the 30-minute time frame, and now what we're going to do is we're going to look for some sort of retest level. Okay, this is gone way too far ahead because that trade already played out. Okay, so this is how the price looked when I was looking to take this trade. This was around New York session, so 12 p.m. GMT time. Okay, so New York session kicks in around 2 p.m. I like to get on the charts 2 hours before, so I can break everything down and analyze this. Okay, so now again we're going to focus on structure. We see higher highs and higher lows forming, but we see a break of structure over here. So we can't take buys because right now price is only telling us sells. Okay, so what I did was I waited for this level to get violated. Okay, so if I break this down a bit more clearly, if you look at the structure, let's change this color to red. If there's a chat there, let me know.
Yeah.
So if I break this down, we're seeing higher highs and higher lows. So we're only looking for buys currently, but look what happened. We violated this low over here. So now we can't look for buys right now on the 30-minute time frame. Why? Because this low has been violated. Okay, so now this is the established high. Is that making sense? Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yo,
Someone
bro.
asked, what's the average percentage drawdown?
What do you mean? The average percentage drawdown in my signals group? So what I risked 2% per trade. So the max drawdown you're gonna see is 2% in a trade. But when I take a
So
trade, but when I take a trade, this trade I'm going to take over here, you'll see the drawdown I experienced. Okay, the drawdown here was 0 pips. It did not go a pip against me in this trade.
but normally what's the average drawdown? 0.5%, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so anyways, let me get back to this, yeah. So now we can't look for buyers. Why? Because this level is being violated. So what we need to do is we need to wait for, well, let me get. So what we need to do is we need to wait for something like this before we can take the trade, okay? So that is what I was looking for, okay? So what I done was I patiently waited. I mean, you can see the price is still respecting. The reason I didn't want to take a trade over here is what if price just holds this level and melts? But I'm only looking for buys on the higher time frame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for a clear break, retest before I take a trade. So what we see is we see a clear break of this level of resistance. When I drop down to the 5-minute time frame, we can see I saw this clear break, but what I then waited for was this mini little retest back at that level. When I saw this retest and I saw this high got broken, that's when I entered the trade. Stops just below here, and my targets, as you know, called out in the Telegram, was all the way up here.
Yeah. So Orin,
Yo,
bro, someone asked if we need to pass using your FTMO signals, how much risk should we be taking per trade? 2% in it.
Yeah, just take 2%. I risk 1% on my live account, but on FTMO accounts I risk 2% because I'm trying to pass people. I'm not trying to take 1 month to pass people. So even on the live group, when I start calling out these signals, risk 2% per trade, only and only 2%, nothing more than that, because we have drawdown limits on FTMO and we're not trying to violate that. So anyways, I entered once we broke that high, stopped just below the recent lows created, and we're targeting this high over here. Why are we targeting this high? If you go to the daily time frame, so this is where we're using multiple time frame analysis, we can see this level of resistance that was created here. So I knew that overall on the daily we're bearish. So what the daily is going to do is something like this. Okay, I already knew that the daily was going to do that. So instead of waiting for me to sell from here, I was like, why not take these buys and then take these sells, get best of both worlds. So let's see this trade play out. Once I saw price reach that level, what I done was stop to break even. I don't want to risk anything more. I took partials over here. So I took partials at a, what was that restore? I took partials at a around the 1-2, let's just say around like a 1-7. So I took partials here, and then what happened was I got taken out at break even. Let me show you. Okay, so what happened was I got taken out at break even. What did price do? It came and retested the major level of support we created. And if we let it play out, look, it's still giving loads of wicks at that major level of resistance. So we know that it's getting respected. If you're looking at the moving averages, you can see the 20 is over the 50, which means we're still holding that bullish pressure. And what did we see coming after that? If we play a bit forward, we see that level continuing to hold, and we see that next push up to hit my targets to the pit before we reject. So like I said, I wanted to buy it back up to this level before I take sells down. Now, I did miss the selling opportunity, which came up today. If we look at that, I'll go to the 4-hour time frame and I'll show you the selling opportunity. Let's unhide these things. So I had this marked up during Asia session, and I knew once price hit that level, we're going to melt. And look what happened. We exactly got a break. So again, that same level holds. What do we get? We got a break, a retest, and then we got a melt. And if you look at the Fibonacci from these highs to these lows over here, so let me highlight it so everyone can see clearly. From these highs to these lows over here was the Fibonacci, and you can see that between the 50 and 61, this is our zone. Okay, so this over here from the 61 to the 50 is our level of resistance. So you can take trades from here. But what I like to do is to be sure, I like a break, a retest, and then an entry. And then you can see we've got that follow through. My targets are the 27.2 retracement. Okay, and let's see how that plays out. If you look on the daily time frame, that's exactly what I was anticipating. We got that break, we got that retest back to that blue level over here, 36,526, like I said, to the pit before we see that roll over. Now you can see that 50 EMA over here. So the moving averages I'm using are the 20 and the 50 exponential moving averages. You can see currently we're respecting that 50 moving average. So we could expect some sort of retracement before a further decline in price. Okay. So that's just US30. Is there any questions before I begin? Is there any questions before I now break down?
Yeah, there's no question so far.
Okay, wait, some people
Okay, there is one.
Enter.
There was a question. What's your rule to take partials, and when do you set your SL trade on break even?
Okay, that's perfect. That's a very good question. Let me just let these people join. Okay, perfect. That's a very good question. What's his name? First, highlight his name for me.
His name is Arslan Haider.
That's a beautiful question. Okay, so now my rule. Let's go back to the 4 hour. Okay, let's ignore these. So my rule for taking partials is once my trade reaches a 1 to 1 or a 1 to 1.5, I'm going to move stops to break even. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Okay, I'll move stops to break even and I'll take partials. So if I'm risking 2%, I'll split that into 1% each. So if I'm willing to risk 5 lots, for example, I'm going to place 2.5 lots twice. Okay, so then when it reaches that 1 to 1.5, I'm gonna exit out of that 2.5 lots. So I've taken partials and I'm gonna let the rest run, because look what happened. If I was to take partials over here, which I did, and I let the rest run, look how much more we came up. Okay, if I was to take all my profits over here, I'm minimizing the amount of profit I can make. Similarly, if we was to take this trade, which went all the way to profit, if I was to just take partials around, if I was to just take my profits around this region, I'm just laying all of this, I'm just missing out on all of this opportunity over here. That's why I like to take 1% of partials here at a 1 to 1.5 or a 1 to 1, and the rest I'll let run to my TP2. So if you look, when I call out signals, I'll give you 2 take profits. The first take profit, once we reach that, take partials and move your stops to break even. For the second take profit, let the rest, which is still on the trade, run to your second take profit. Most times my second take profit also gets hit. So again, I called out this take profit too, it got hit. If you look on the second trade I took, which is Euro JPY. Oops. So if you look at the second trade I took, which is on Euro JPY, EJ, look, TP2 hit to the pip again. Again, look at the value, 129.775. If you go to my Telegram where I called this trade, is 129.775. Okay, so most of the times my TP2 also gets hit, but to ensure we're always winning these trades, take partials at TP1 and move the rest to break even. Okay, so both trades I called out, both trades hit TP2.